And I quote, "I'll be there in a minute. Give me a second."
Time is relative, folks. Time is relative.
Yes. So, hey, cheers to everybody in the chat. They're a division rival. I don't care how many wins they get. Screw them.
That wasn't the take I was expecting to hear.
I want to gush over watching live Chris Tanev.
I think that we completely underestimate the skill it takes to play defense.
One highlight or several highlights does not a Calder trophy make.
I'm stepping in here. I'm going to be the crotchety old man here. They need to learn patience. They need to understand the tension, everything, and the drama.
How dare! Look at this. How is McDavid not getting a penalty?
You guys need to calm down with this, okay? You guys need to calm down.
There's nothing calm going on right now here. Tyler and everyone, welcome to the Shifts and Pucks podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks. Subscribe wherever you get your audio. Oh, also Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks, as well as on the Hockey Podcast Network. And that means we have a read with player props and live betting. Every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. You can prepare to do that 3 years from now with the World Cup of Hockey in 2028. New bets, customers, you can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. You can even place odds. Dan Stevenson from Fireside Chat. You could even place odds on the draft lottery, which, by the way, was announced today. It will be on May the 5th. So I don't know what you're doing May 5th, but that's when the draft lottery is.
Now I'm watching the draft lottery.
There you go.
I now have plans for May 5th. I'm doing well. How are you, Kevin? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. It is pouring absolute buckets in here right now in Vancouver. Just crazy rain this last week, but that's part of the charm of Vancouver. How are things in Calgary?
Beautiful. It was like 16 degrees and sunny today.
Oh, shut up. Just kidding. Yeah, well, it kind of feels like spring. We're getting close to the playoffs or the draft lottery season, depending on your perspective. But, of course, for the Flames, we talked a little bit about the Canucks last night, but the Flames, they are, of course, out of, in 31st place, sitting well ahead of the Canucks right now, looking like that's probably where they will finish, 31st. There's a battle between them, the Blackhawks and the Rangers and the Blues, really for 28th to 31st, which the Flames did beat the Blues last night in a shootout 2-1. So we'll get into the Flames in a moment here, but I think we're going to start with the big news this week for Calgary anyway, is the World Cup of Hockey is coming to Calgary. Calgary, along with Prague, is going to host the round robin Pool A, Pool B games in Calgary and Prague. And then the semifinal and the final is in a town. I'm not sure if you heard of this town, Dan. It's called Edmonton. Have you heard of it?
I know it fairly well, yeah.
Yeah. But they are getting the semifinal and the final. According to Eric Francis, Edmonton did put in a bid, but they got the province to help out on that, and I guess they kind of ended up combining everything with Calgary and Edmonton together. I guess the start of my questioning would be just kind of how do you feel that Calgary, and we talked about this last night in the Canucks podcast with Sean. I know that you guys get the Calgary Stampede every year, but it does feel good that you're actually getting a somewhat of another world-class event in the city, which hasn't really had one in a long time. I'm trying to think the last time, other than the Stampede, that Calgary hosted something. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I guess depends how you look at it. I mean, there's a lot of things that come through Calgary during Stampede. They hosted the Junos a couple of years ago, Country Music Awards. I don't know if you'd call those world class.
They're Canadian events. I would argue more than world events.
I mean, I would argue that I don't know if the qualifiers for the World Cup are going to be world class events.
Well, the round robin. The round robin event. It's a round robin. So
Yeah,
it'll be
okay.
some games.
Yeah, but I guess the way I look at it is, yeah, there'll be some games, but it's the same players we would see anyways. It's not like Red Deer's getting players they've never seen, or Hamilton's bringing in players they don't see. These are just NHL players wearing different jerseys coming to Calgary.
Well, you seem really excited.
I've said this on our show. I have to see the World Cup format before I get excited. I'm not all that excited about NHL best on best. Like, I think let's save that for the Olympics. I'm a little disenchanted with the NHL's version of the All-Star game the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I'm not all that excited about it.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. And that's fair. I think it's good. I think the good thing is you get to show off the new arena, the new Scotia Place Arena. Of course, also 50 more regular season games now for the Saddle Dome before the Scotia Place reopened. Yeah, it's something. I know that there has been some online tension between Calgary, and I know that there's some people in Calgary that are a little torqued that Edmonton is getting the semifinal final. Are you one of them, or do you care?
We talked about it on our show last week, and I think Matt probably was right when he said, you know what, Edmonton didn't really get anything from the league when their new building opened. I would have liked to have seen Calgary get it to show off their new building, but I get why Edmonton probably did. I'm hoping that something else comes our way. Like I said, I don't really think that this is the event that I'm all that excited for, but if they were to get a draft or something like that, I think that would be exciting. But yeah, I guess, somebody had to have it, and I can see where it makes sense for it to be Edmonton, considering they've had their building longer.
Yeah, and I also think that I think this also played into it a little bit. I'm speculating, but I wonder how much the pandemic part of this played into this. Just because they hosted the pandemic playoffs, and kind of the NHL knows that arena already, and I think it just has that establishment from it. So now the other part of this that I do think is a bit, I do understand.
I think that's part of it, Kevin, but let's be honest too. I mean, I hate to say it, but Edmonton has probably been the most successful Canadian team the last couple of years.
Totally.
So I think that probably plays a big part of it too.
Yep, that's totally fair. They are the right now.
I hate saying that, Flames fan.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's that should stick. Just on a side note, that should stick in the craw of Flames fans that Edmonton is the standard bearer. That should piss off Flame fans. It really should. And sometimes I don't know if it does as much as it should, but in sort of a general sense. This will sound a little critical, Dan, but we're going down this rabbit hole. I think at times Flames fans have conceded that they are the little brother of the Oilers fans. I think I
don't know about that. I think I've never heard Flames fans come out and say that. I think that is, though, part of, and I know you want to talk about this later, but I think part of the rebuild is people finally saying the Flames are finally on track to win something.
Yeah. Yep. We'll get into that. a little later. The one thing, the other part of this, I had a couple of kind of other things. I understand what the NHL is doing here because you want to take the opportunity to kind of filter the European market and kind of expand globally in terms of just recognition. I don't think the NHL has any plans of having a team out in Europe. So I get why they went Prague. But I also think that that's a bit of a disadvantage for those teams in Prague to come all the way to Alberta. So they're flying, if this is midseason, they're flying over to Czech to the Europe. Then they're flying back to North America to play this game. I don't think that that's an advantage to those teams. I think I was wondering, and it's maybe Vancouver didn't bid, but I wondered if it would have made more sense to add another NHL city in this conversation.
I think if you add another NHL city, though, there's just not enough meat on the bone for anybody. And then trying to get your broadcasters and all that. Another city means another broadcast team, another set of expenses. Like, I think there's more to that behind the scenes. It's easy to ship a team, even of camera people up the QE2 from Calgary to Edmonton. I know what you're saying about the Prague thing, but is it any different than the Olympics of going all the way over to, Italy or China a couple of years ago? The NHL didn't do that one, but I guess the question to me is how much time will there be between the games in Prague and the game in Edmonton?
I don't know. I guess we have to see the date on that. But I guess we'll figure that out. We'll see on that. But it's something in Calgary to look forward to. I imagine, there's something. It's something in Calgary to look forward to in a couple of years as the New Scotia place is coming along. It looks like it's coming along, and that's some good things. Let's get to some Flames news before we kind of talk about the team. They signed a Tyson Gross. Now, who's his dad? His dad is with the team.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, his dad is. I should ask you offline. His dad, I guess, is part of Tickets. I want to say. I don't. Yeah, his dad is part of not the hockey side of the management.
His dad is Mr. Ticketmaster himself.
Tyson Ticketmaster Gross. Can you imagine that? That's a wrestling name. But 23 years old, is from Calgary. He grew up a Flames fan. Saying he remembers he remembers the Flames. He remembers who assisted on the 500th Joe McGinley's 500th goal. Olli Jokinen, 41 points in 36 games in St. Cloud State this year. I think another college signing. I don't know if there's a heck of a lot to say about this. I mean, it's found money. I think it's just great. It's very rare that I hear someone saying that they've grew up a Flame, like, not that there's not Flame fans out there, but it's great to see someone that has, it's kind of going to be a cool story to see this kid play in Calgary, whether that's with the Flames or the Wranglers. I think it'll be a nice story. And some found money for the Flames.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think one thing that a lot of Flames fans think about when they think about, a rebuild is they think of that top guy, and that's great and that's wonderful. And we need that top guy, but you need guys to fill out a whole roster, everything from forward number 1 to forward number 30 and defenseman number 1 to defenseman number 7 or 8. And you also need guys to play in your AHL team. And, I don't know if Gross will turn out or not. I don't, we haven't really seen him play anything but college hockey. So he looks good there, but there's been a lot of guys that have looked good there and not looked good in the NHL. We'll see what happens with him, but I think this might be a guy similar to, a guy like Dryden Hunt, who is from the area, and I could see Tyson Gross just staying with the Wranglers just because he wants to stay close to home, and it might be one of those just steady AHL bodies, and you need those too. I mean, not everybody can make the NHL, not everybody can be a star, but everybody plays a role.
Yeah. Do you think we see him in April playing a NHL
I do.
game?
He's with the team now. He has a jersey number. I don't think they would have done that if he's not going to play.
Yeah. Number 39, by the way.
Number 39.
Some other notes. Ethan Whitenbach, who I think Craig Conroy introduced him after the Don Maloney fiasco, and he's just been kind of on our radar ever since. Top 10 finalist for the Hobie Baker Award. He's getting a number of recognition here. Lot of excitement. I'll add Johnny Gaudreau a little bit in terms of like this mid to late round pick that might turn out. We still have to see him in the NHL, though. But that's some good news. And Cole Reshny, last year's first round pick, early first round pick. There was two. There's him and Cullen Potter. Named the NCAA Rookie of the Year. So, yeah, some good news on the Whitenbach and Reshny front. It's great that they're getting these awards. We wait and see what happens in the NHL. And we're also just waiting to see on the two new Flames that they got in separate trades, Jonathan Loisaca, who was acquired in the Mackenzie Weegar trade from Utah, and Abram Wiebe, which was acquired in the Rasmus Anderson trade from Vegas, as potential signees of two here coming up within the next few weeks. And it's expected, I think we're expecting Loisaca to play. I don't know about Abram Wiebe, but I believe that a lot of people are expecting Loisaca to play. Where are you on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens there. I think there's a lot of guys they're going to want to look at, and I'm not sure you'll manage all that with the limited call-ups and stuff that you have, but if any of them play, great. I've never been a big fan of this play one game and burn a year thing. I think I don't know, if you're trying to build a long-term relationship, it doesn't feel like a great way to build a relationship, but if they want to see them greater, then there's some AHL guys they need to look at too.
Yeah, so Rory Cairns is still hurt. So I'm assuming, I guess, the AHL players, I would think they would want before let's look at those AHL players. Do you see William Stromgren getting a look?
Yes, he's already had a look. I think he's probably, if you're looking at guys who you want to get a look for because they might be on the team next year, which is why I'd take a look at guys, I think that Stromgren is probably one of the closest to being on the team.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming Blake Coleman is not a Flame next year. And I would think that would be one. Who else do we need to? There are no Karens.
I think they have to take a look at Brennan Othman.
Yes, acquired in a. Yeah, I would think they want to take a look at him as well. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I think Sam Morton might get another look too.
Yeah. So yeah, those are three guys. Any defensemen that they're going to look at?
I don't know. I mean, at this point, if you're Daniil Miramanov and you can't make the Flames defense, you're probably done in the NHL. I don't think Gavin White needs to be looked at. I don't think Grushnikov needs a look yet. Maybe Nick Sissick if they think they want to keep him around, but that's really all they've got down there.
Yeah. And I'm assuming they're just going to run with Wolf and Cooley for the rest of the year, which is working fine for them.
Yeah, I don't see why you. Yeah, I think if you want to give Wolf some rest, you put Cooley in. I don't see why you would bring up another goalie.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't
think Prosvetov will be in the organization next year.
No, I don't think so either. I think
and I don't think that Owen Say's ready for the NHL.
No, I think they want to give him a pretty lengthy run next year. Yeah, that's about it, right? I think we're seeing everybody what we need to see, and I think they're running with most of the team. I think they're giving everybody the look that's They're giving Gridden the look. We'll get into that. They're giving Parekh that long look. They're giving Berskevich that long look. So, was there any other Flames news that I missed? We haven't been talking Flames within the last couple of weeks. Anything else that I missed that we should, other than the obvious trades which happened, but anything else kind of under the radar that you should note, that we should note about?
Unless you specifically want to get into trade deadline stuff, I don't think so. I would just say I think that the biggest surprise for me is how good some of the new veterans have been.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me read the second ad read here. Again, then we'll dive into that. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code XXX. That's code XXX to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER-New York. Call 877-8-HOPE HOPNY or text HOPNY Connecticut. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager, tax, pass-through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario, restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expires in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources and gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL. All rights reserved. Yes, so we didn't, unfortunately, just some personal things happened. We couldn't get in chat about since the trade deadline. So this has been a while, but let's talk about maybe let's just take a step back here. Has your opinion changed on the trade deadline since it happened it was a complete stunner. I don't want to say it was a complete stunner. I think it was kind of surprising Mackenzie Weegar was traded. It wasn't. I admit I did not expect what they would get for Nazem Kadri, but they pulled that off and got a first, which is basically, if things go right, they get within the next 3 years. Dan, they should be getting a top 5 guy, a top 5 player, which should be part of your core, and then the second first round pick realistically is a depth piece that you add somewhere in the organization for your next 3 years. And then those second round picks that they get from Utah, I could see them moving up. I could see them using those as trade chips going forward as well. But kind of looking back now, how are you feeling about the trade deadline a couple of weeks after all of this was said and done?
I like it. I think the Flames did a great job. I think that the Kadri piece was surprising. I kind of thought that we'd trade Coleman, keep Kadri, but if you can get that deal for Nazem Kadri, take it any day of the week. I know some people don't like that the Flames brought in veterans, but I've said so many times over and over that you have to have veterans. I mean, you have to have guys that can lead this team and help the young guys out. And I like the veterans they brought in. I think Strome's going to be great here. I think that the Flames also need to take on some money, so that makes sense. I think Oli Mantha, for what he's going to do, is just fine. I mean, he's not expected to be a top 2 on a good team, so I think that'll be good. I don't see Olofsson staying past this season. He's already on the 4th line here in Calgary. I wouldn't stick around if that was me, but I think that they did a really good job. They did better than I expected them to.
Yeah. They certainly did better than I expected as well. I did not expect that price for Nazem Kadri. I was like, Matt was right. We were wrong. There we go. And then, I think the only reason that Coleman didn't move is I don't know that the 10 teams that are on his no trade list stepped up, and I'm expecting, I don't know who they are, but we can guess their playoff teams. And I'm guessing that, after, I think there will be some of them, at least one, that will say, hey, we had a disappointing playoff. It's not what we wanted. So let's go out and make a move in the offseason. Yeah. Yeah. So, So you got, Strome is here. He's a UFA next year. I think that'll be an opportunity for him next year. And I really like it. Sounds like I think him and Connor Zary have developed a bit of a connection here, which I think is great for Zary. Um, I don't know about you, Dan, but I'm getting to the point that I think the experimentation of Connie Azaria as a center for me is almost over. I think there's other people that might disagree with me, but I feel like he skates better in the wing. I feel like he's more natural on the wing, and I think that going forward, I would like to just see Connor Zary at the wing. I don't know where you are on that, but that's kind of what I'm feeling here.
Who do you
I think
put center then? I mean, this team is short centers and heavy on wingers.
Well, John Beecher has stepped up and played some okay center the last little while. I mean, yes, okay, fine. You can play Connor Zary for the final 15, sometimes for the final 15 games of the year, but you could probably find a bargain bin center iceman next year to play in the fourth line.
Probably. Really I don't know. I think both Zary and Postel, I'm not sure what their roles are next year. Like, I think you're right. I don't like Zary. I don't like Postel, either of them at center, but I wouldn't say that Zary's looked all that great on wing either.
Really feels like Ryan Strome is taking him under his wing, which is a good thing, which is another valuable piece here. I mean, he's taking him and Igor and doing some practice drills with him. So I think that's a good sign. And again, you can trade Ryan Strome in next March 2027. I imagine that we're talking about a Ryan Strome trade. And then next year, you've got Huberdeau. Well, I don't know about Huberdeau, but you got to figure out what you're doing with Sam Honzek next year as well, right? So where he comes back. And I also think as well, you kind of have to start having a conversation about Adam Klapka being in a top 3 role. I think that has to be.
Yeah, I just think that for every name we're talking about, somebody's going to have to come out of the lineup for any of these guys to move around or stay in. And I mean, if you want, let's say Honzek to come back in, who do you take out?
Well, that's, I guess, going to be the question. I mean, you're not going to have Victor Olofsson next year. We're just going through the forwards. I don't know about Ryan Lomberg. I mean, I think that the team and the player would want to come back, but I also think there's going to be a team. I think Brad Treliving is going to make a run for Ryan Lomberg and probably overpay him.
And I wonder if Lomberg just wants to stay in Calgary at this point. He talks about how he loves the city. Like, I wonder if he would take less money to stay here.
Yeah. Too early to talk about who is the number 1 pick, but I mean, I think we'll see about that, but that's another thing. Yeah. I mean, they're not.
Yeah, if you think the Flames are 1 or 2, they'll be taking a winger. So if you think that guy's going to be in the NHL next year, then you need another wing spot open up. Like, I think you might be forced to use Zary at center next year, or move him or Postel out of the lineup and make them 13.
Yeah.
Like, Coleman will move at some point. So if let's just say that right now, Coleman and Olofsson are out of your lineup by the start of the season. So you put Honzek on one of those. Let's say you put whoever the first round pick is in one of those. Now you're back to logjam at forward.
Yeah, but you got a whole bunch of the same guys too, right? Like I feel like the core 4 forwards with the Flames that I think going forward that I feel confident are back are Frost, Gridden, Farabee, and Backlund. Everybody else, I'm like, I don't know.
Not even Coronado.
Frost, Gridden. I said Coronado, did I not?
You said Farabee and Backlund.
Okay, 5. Core 5. Frost, Gridden, Farabee, Backlund, Coronado. Those would be your 5 forwards. I think everybody else is and Klapka, so 6. There's your 6 forwards. I think that there's I think there's a place. I think there's a place for a hockey trade for Martin Pospisil out there next year. I would not be surprised. I don't know. I think either.
I think Pospisil and Zari are going to be tough to move with their money.
Yeah, I could see that, but the cap going up, I just think there's a lot of teams and a lot of players that I think will need a reset. That I could see that happening and them finding a way to work that out.
I think that if I'm looking for a guy like that, I'm probably looking at the free agency rather than going out and trying to, trade or give up an asset for that guy.
There's not a lot on free agency though. I mean, everybody is signed. So,
and even then, there's so many guys like that. I think every team has a guy like that. You're gonna have to, I think, offer the bottom.
Yeah. Your 3 centers next year should be Frost, Backlund, Strome. So you should be able to find a winger spot for Zary somewhere in there. And you're assuming William Stromgren is making the team. And you got Gridden, Zary, and then on the right side, Farabee, Coronado. I don't know if I'm expecting Jonathan Huberdeau to be back in Klapka. So there's 9. And then Pospisil, he's not a center. I wish they would stop that too, but they don't have a lot of other options. I understand why they're doing it, but he's not a center. I just,
and that's why I think a guy like Morton, who I think can play center, may end up getting the nod just because they need a center iceman.
Yeah. Defensively, I mean, Kevin Bull is back. I would suspect Oli Mata is going to be here for a while. I could see Zach. I know that people were expecting Zach Whitecloud to be flipped. I was one of them. I think he's going to stick around here for a while. I really do. I think he's been a really good addition. He's wanted to be here. I don't see that unless they get a crazy offer for Zach Whitecloud. I don't see him moving.
No, I don't either. And I think now I've seen him sort of get involved in the community. Like he's doing a lot of stuff with the First Nations communities around here and stuff. I think it's going to be harder to flip him because he's becoming already, and he's only been here for a short time, a big part of Calgary.
Yeah. Joel Hanley, I thought he was a UFA next year, but he's a UFA in 28. I could see he's probably sticking around. Braden Bahal, unless they get, I could see one of them moving. One of them has to. The
whole thing is it's not like they've got a lot of AHL guys that you have to get on the lineup. Like if you look at it, you don't go, oh my gosh, this guy needs a spot next year. Like I think everyone that needs a spot, but has a spot. So whether I guess what I'm saying is I don't think they're just going to mass ship guys out in the off season just to do it.
No. Yan Kuznetsov is going to play in the NHL. I don't think he needs. So you've got Ball, Mata, Whitecloud, Kuznetsov for sure next year as your 4 defensemen.
Bristevich.
I think there's an argument that Brskevich makes the team next year. I know that a lot of people are saying this is too early to have this conversation, but I think a full season in the AHL for Zane Parekh is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I think Brstevich will be an NHLer next year. I think he will not be on the – I think it could be Parekh down and Brstevich up, but I've also changed my mind on that, Kevin. Like, I've been saying for a while that Zane Parekh should probably go to the American League, but I'm also thinking if Calgary's willing to be bad, where's the best development for him? Is it top line American League or is it, somewhere in the NHL?
So in the AHL.
You think so?
In the AHL. And here's why. Because I think that this is a guy that is so hard on himself for making mistakes that him in a losing environment, which is going to happen in Calgary, is not going to help him. The Wranglers could struggle next year and be a playoff team, but I think he's going to get on the ice. I think he gains a lot of confidence playing and scoring points. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do that in the NHL next year. I think just getting that confidence and then letting that confidence ride into in the season after that is what I think will help Zane Parak.
That's fair.
I just the personality that he is, I let him marinate and shine and kind of be the face for the Wranglers in a lot of ways. Kind of let him be the guy that people want to come and see.
Yep.
I don't think there's any rush to have Zane Parak in the NHL yet. Let him develop.
Yeah, no, I think you could definitely be right there.
And the other thing is, and Ryan Huska has consistently said this, is he needs to put on weight. He needs to get stronger. Matt has also said that. Is he going to put up enough weight in the off season for him to be NHL ready next year?
And that's the real question. And I think if he does, you keep him in the NHL. If he doesn't, you send him to the American League.
Yeah, and I don't think they're not necessarily asking him to turn into like a muscle man, but I mean, I also think it's about learning how to play in his weight class too, right? And understanding that body. And I just don't think that I don't think he's be able to do that consistently in the NHL.
No, and I think the weight thing is the biggest thing. Like if he can put on the weight, great, you keep him. If he can't put on the weight, then I think you let him go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And when I say let him go to the American League is what I mean. Like,
yeah.
I think that, you're not going to get rid of him, but you let him go down and try down there. But I think either way, Brustevich makes the NHL. I think that the question is Parak.
Yeah. I've been generally pretty impressed with Brustevich for where he is, and they're giving him 18 to 20 minutes. So they're giving him a lot of time. I'm kind of looking forward to see where Brustevich is next year. I think we all knew that when they brought in Parak, he was going to be a bit of a project. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Again, they don't need to rush this. They really don't. And especially if you're going to be bad, let's let him marinate, let him run the Wranglers, and see where he's at. And that confidence will help him build for 2 seasons from now.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think there's any need to rush him in the league. I mean, if he puts on the weight, great. I think, he's going to need the time to try that. And whether that's the off season, he's working hard on, trying to become an NHLer, or he needs another season in the American League. Don't rush him. But I think, you've got to give him those milestones. Okay, if this happens, you'll at least get a long training camp look. Might be okay. If you put on 50 pounds and, can keep your same speed, then we'll give you that long training camp look.
Yeah.
But I think one thing they can't do, no matter if you're the 1st round draft pick or the 7th round draft pick, is they can't be saying you've got a spot next year.
No, they can't. No. And that's, I guess, to counter my point to your point, though, I guess, would it be fair to say, okay, no matter what, Zane Parak is going to the AHL? Is that necessarily fair, or does he deserve to at least compete for an NHL spot?
I think you let him compete. If he can do it, great. If they think he can do it, great. If he puts on the weight, great. Like, I think there's a lot of variables there. And it might be, he takes a summer and he figures something out.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, so that's where that is. Yeah, so I mean, that's where we're at with the Flames at this point. We know what's happening for the next couple of years. It's just a matter of developing that and seeing where that is. But I it's just interesting living in Vancouver here, Dan, because the mood has been generally, for the most of the year, has been pretty sour on this organization here in Vancouver. We talk about that a lot on the Canucks version of the podcast, but it feels from here and just kind of after the trade deadline, where really you could make the argument that Calgary, in a lot of ways, won the trade. Like, if you were going winners or losers, you could make an argument that Calgary was one of the key winners, just the way that they were able to accumulate draft picks here for their rebuild and going forward. It feels like the mood is a bit more optimistic in Calgary. It feels like Craig Conroy has all the vibes, everything after we talked about how disastrous that Don Maloney interview was, but it just seems like everything is kind of turned into a positive in Calgary. Am I fair in assessing that, or?
Yeah, I think that one thing we talked about the Don Maloney interview, and you and I have talked about that a number of times. I think the biggest thing is Craig Conroy came out at his trade deadline press conference, said the word rebuild for the first time, and I think that this is the first real set of moves where the Flames have proven who they are. And even after the Anderson deal, we still questioned, are they going to do what they need to do? Are they going to try and, run the same team back? Are they going to get rid of Kadri, who they like? Like, I think there's been a lot of challenge and question out there of who are these guys and are they really committed to doing this? And I think this is the time that they showed me, yes, I am committed to this. We're ready to do this. We're ready to rebuild, and we said the word. And I think a lot of fans are optimistic because now they know what the direction is.
Yeah.
We're not guessing. We're not waiting for, maybe Rebiggle means this or that, or like we know exactly what that means now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that it just felt like the whole weight of the organization and everybody just kind of was able to breathe. They're able to enjoy the games. I mean, you're still getting the criticism of the Ryan Huska system, which I think will go on forever. I think people are wrong. The critics of Huska are wrong, in my opinion. But it just feels like everything is kind of, the pressure's off. But I also feel like the Flames have been playing, even though they are not winning, they're kind of playing. I haven't minded their effort. I feel like their effort has been there. I think that they're starting to they have been establishing an identity, and I think that is still there. I don't know if you feel the same way. It hasn't feel like there's been a few games that there hasn't been a lot of effort to last a little while.
Yeah, I feel both ways. I mean, I think there's been some effort and not some effort. I think for me, it's just Flames fans have known this team needed a rebuild for a long time, and it hasn't happened. And I think, for me, I'm just happy. I mean, I think there's only so much identity we can put on this team for a team that's a group of spare parts right now. But I think that, at least we know we have the path forward. We know it's going to be painful for a couple of years. I mean, there were tickets to last night's St. Louis game for $6. It was cheaper to get in the door than it was to buy beer. It's going to be painful for a couple of years, but at least we know what comes on the other side of a rebuild.
Yeah. 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 It's,
and there's always going to be those fans that just want to see, the best hockey they can. I get it. And I understand where they're coming from and that sort of thing. But I think that, I think that you have to remember that the Flames, I still maintain the Flames have never really rebuilt. The Flames have never really done this, and we got to let them go through it.
Yeah, I mean, they've attempted, but they've never done it to this level. And I give Craig Conroy, I think Craig Conroy deserves a ton of credit for making that decision. I don't think it was, I think clearly I don't think that this is necessarily the way that most of this organization, a lot of the people in this organization, including Murray Edwards, wants to go. But the fact is he managed up, and I give him a ton of credit for it.
Here's an interesting thought, and I might have said this to you already, but I think that we heard Don Maloney say one thing, and we heard Craig Conroy say something very different. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some division internally, or at least it looks like there's some division internally. And I wonder if you will start to see, or maybe, it'll be very swift, but at the end of the season, I wonder if Don Maloney has moved out of president of hockey operations, if for no other reason than optically to say, okay, everyone's on the same page.
Well, you've always speculated that Dave Nonis would get that job.
I'm still wondering that. I'm wondering if Nonis moves in there and he comes out and pretty much says, okay, I'm on board with this. We're going to, make sure that we're going to make sure that we're rebuilding. We have full support in Craig. And then you see somebody like Jerome take that assistant GM role.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I'm kind of wondering if they bring in Jerome in the offseason in some way, shape, or form. I could see Don out.
I think Don Maloney, even just coming out and saying what he did, and then Conroy saying his bit later, I think even if it's not true, it looks like there's division in the ranks.
Well, like from a corporate perspective too, Dan, I just don't know if you can, I don't want to disrespect Don Maloney's hockey knowledge. That's not what this is about. But I mean, or anything, but I just like the thing that is concerning with Don Maloney right now is that presentation on camera. If you're selling sponsorships through this rebuild, is that the guy that you want going to corporate events representing the Flames, or do you want that to be Craig Conroy?
Well, that's what I mean. I don't think it has to be a guy who speaks really well, but I think you can't have Conroy saying we're rebuilding and then the president of hockey ops saying something different.
Yeah, you have to have everybody on the same page.
Yeah, and I think that even if it optically looks like they're not on the same page, it might be time to make a change. And I mean, I don't know a lot about Don Maloney, but I question at this point if he's the best guy for that job, or if there's somebody else, another hockey person, either internally or externally, who might be in that role. I still don't quite understand what a president of hockey ops does.
He presents the hockey ops. I think he considers the future. When we talk about future consideration trades, I think the president does have some consideration of the future.
There you go. So, I mean, that's why the Flames still have many years of future considerations that never got cashed in because they didn't have that position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though? Like, I'm just wondering, maybe there's somebody else out there, either internally or externally, that could be in that role. I think you need somebody to come out and pretty much say, I'm here and I'm fully behind Craig.
Yeah.
He's too old and sick, but I mean, I shouldn't say sick, but Lanny's had his heart attack. And I think if it wasn't for that, he'd be a great face for that. Because I still look at that as really a public position. And the Flames love to go to their alumni. I wonder if you find them bringing in somebody else on that team, like a Tim Hunter or something. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know what value Maloney brings you anymore.
Yeah, it is a fair question.
I think Maloney was here because he was Treliving's mentor and the guy who gave Treliving a job. And now the tree's out. I wonder what the internal thoughts of him are.
Yeah, I guess. Could you give Craig both? Is that something that is possible?
I guess that would come back down to, why do you need the president then?
Well, in Vancouver, you've got Rutherford that's running the show, and I haven't been a fan of what's happened here in Vancouver. Sean I think everybody else kind of disagrees with me, but I haven't been a fan of how this is run in Vancouver, because I feel like Rutherford is almost overstepping Alvin, and he's kind of in charge. Where in Calgary, it's pretty clear that Craig Conroy has the runway to do what he wants. Like I feel like in terms, and we're going to have this debate in the future. We're planning to do a Flames Canucks rebuild comparison. But one of the things that I think is very clear in Calgary that is very different in Vancouver is Craig Conroy has the confidence of the people around him, where I don't feel that is the same in Vancouver with Patrick Alvin. Everything seems to run through Jim Rutherford. And I feel like that is a detriment in Vancouver. It's been a detriment in Vancouver for the most part. And in Calgary, I feel like it's helped them.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know if it has to be Craig, but I wonder if it could be somebody who, because obviously there's two jobs there, and I wonder if there's very few teams that have a GM and president of hockey ops, and I'm thinking you could probably find somebody else who is there to support Craig, and that's why I still think that a guy like a senior GM like Nonis could be a good guy for that.
Yeah, I like your theory that they go Nonis and Ginla. Like, I guess the other thing that is going into my head, do you put a Ginla in that position? But I don't think that that's fair to everybody.
No, I don't think so. The only other guy internally I could see you putting there, either in the president of hockey ops or the assistant GM, is if they thought the Button could get a promotion. Like, I don't know how long you think he's going to be your head scout for if you'd move him into that kind of role.
He probably deserves a hell of a lot of credit for the way that this organization has drafted, but I would hope that they keep him in that.
And that would be my worry about putting Craig in two roles. Is I think one of Craig's biggest benefits is his ability to be able to go out and draft. And if we give him more jobs, can he do that?
Well, I really think he enjoys scouting. I really think that.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like his job, yeah, he's good at going out and looking at guys for the draft and the scouting. The only other guy could be, we have a senior VP of hockey operation, which is Dave Nonis, and a VP of hockey operation, which is Pascal. I think if you're going to promote somebody, you promote the guy who's senior VP, but the other guy would be Brad Pascal.
Yeah, I was just about to ask where he is, because what if could you see Brett Sutter being moved in sort of what could happen is for the Wranglers, could Brett Sutter be GM and coach?
I question if Brett Sutter will be back next year.
Oh, okay, interesting.
There's very few times that an NHL team is bad and their AHL team is bad. Let's be honest, the Flames haven't had a lot of guys down there, but I don't know that Sutter's had the best season.
How will the Flames survive without a Sutter in their organization?
Well, they can hire one of them as a scout somewhere.
Yeah, we haven't had the opportunity to really talk about the Wranglers, but it kind of was. We looked back on that was a bit of a weird situation as well.
Yeah, I think it was odd to give him that. It's his first year. He coached for 1 year as an assistant. It seemed like they jumped the gun on that one. I don't know that I would have done that. I would have probably given him a couple more years as an assistant GM, but who knows?
Yeah. While we're at that, I do want to express our condolences to former Flames assistant Brad Larson, who last year did end up taking some time off. And we did learn why, as his wife, Hannah, did pass away from cancer. Hannah was from Red Deer, I believe, as well. So kind of a local tie there. But that said, just wanted to give that condolences out to Brad Larson and his family for that tragic news. Yeah, I think that I do think it's interesting what you do there.
If I look around at guys who are unemployed, former kind of GMs like Chuck Fletcher, Chiarelli, Dean Lombardi, like there's some guys that are not in that GM role anymore that are, if you want a very seasoned guy, you might be able to go out and get. Here's
where I'll push back. Craig Conroy has been with this organization in a management role since the mid-2010s. Like, I know that he hasn't been a GM for a really long time, but this guy's got the experience to run a hockey team. I don't
Sure.
think he needs someone above him. Like
I don't think so either, but that seems to be the trend.
Look, Brad Treliving came in with more experience than Craig Conroy, and I think it's pretty clear who has done a better job. And
Yeah.
it's Conroy. Like,
I would argue a guy like Ken Holland doesn't need somebody above him, a very seasoned GM. I would say the same maybe about a guy like Dubas or Kelly McCrimmon, but most of them have hockey operations presidents. Sheveldayoff.
yeah. It doesn't hurt to have one. I'm not saying that you don't need one, but I really am kind of, the more we talk about this, I don't think that they need to bring an outside voice into this. I think that what they have is working. I think if you move Maloney out, you move Iginla in, and maybe you bring Pascal up, and you find.
I think the fact that on the Flames official site it says that Nonis is senior VP hockey ops and Pascal's VP hockey ops, I think you'd be promoting Nonis, and if not, Pascal would probably or Nonis would probably move on.
Well, I mean, I think that the fix, if anything needs to be fixed, is probably in the Wranglers more than the Flames right now. So, I mean,
but I don't know how much a GM of an AHL team actually fixes that. I mean, he's hiring 4 bodies a year that aren't on an NHL deal.
You develop somebody for your going forward, like
and even then, the Flames like a two assistant system. So let's say you move Nonis to president. You move Pascal to senior VP. You bring in a new junior VP, let's call it, and give him the Wranglers.
Yeah. Well, like there's Matt Stajan is around still, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go with kind of alumni, which the Flames seem to like, you could look at a guy like Stone. You could look at a guy like Jelena.
Yeah. They brought in Brent Siebert to do some skill development.
Yeah, I don't think I'd push him all the way. I mean, I could also see them bringing up a guy like Gary Davidson, who's the Hitman GM.
And they've done that before. They've been known to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, or even, I mean, Kelly Kissio is still kicking around as a scout. I think he'd be a great, he's a scout for Vegas. I think he could be a great president hockey ops.
Yeah.
So I guess there's options. I don't see Maloney after the sort of public divide coming back.
I don't either. I wonder, though, if they do it kind of quietly, though. They announce it over the Stampede year, over Stampede week, and it kind of rolls under the radar there.
Maybe the only thing I don't think about that is I think that's rookie camp, and I think they want to have somebody else in place by rookie camp.
Fair.
I think you would probably just do it at the end of the season on garbage bag day. You don't you don't put him out there for media. I think if you want to make it, quiet, you just say that he's retiring.
Yeah.
I can't see anybody else bringing Don Maloney in. No offense to Don Maloney. I just don't know what kind of a demand there is. I think you just say Maloney's retiring and, we're making a change.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see the Rangers maybe looking at him.
Yeah, or if not retiring, you let him walk away. You don't say you're firing him.
Yeah.
Hey, sort of like you said, the Flames are in a good place now. Craig Conroy has the direction. I'm not needed here.
Yeah. 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 Anything else with the Flames we should be talking about?
I think for Flames fans, we just have to remember that yes, there's going to be bad hockey from here to the end of the season, but don't look at it as wins and losses at this point. Look at it as, what's the story, and watch those young players develop, and even guys who are now getting, a guy like Frost or Farabee, who's maybe getting more chance to show what they can do than they were before. I think we just have to remember that this is a time for players to develop, and they're going to make mistakes when they develop, but that's what this period for the rest of the season is for.
Yep. I agree with you on that. Looks like apparently they are bringing back 2004 with the Florida Panthers. Are going to wear the 2004 jerseys, is my understanding.
Has that been announced? I didn't see that as an official announcement.
I've heard this rumor that they're I'm seeing something online that they're talking about bringing back the 2004 jersey for the Panthers game.
I saw that at the beginning of the season. Mike Gold was talking about that, but then the Flames have put out their sort of a promo about it, and they're talking about playing 90s music and stuff, but they didn't announce the jerseys.
Fair, okay. Well, I guess
last night at the Blues game, they did have some of those jerseys with old players' names like Iginla in the store, so I wonder if they're just trying to play on nostalgia. But I have to imagine that with that game less than a year away or less than a week away, you wouldn't want to just make that surprise. You'd want to milk that for cash.
Yeah, you want to make some money off that. Well, we'll see. It's a pretty lengthy homestand coming up here anyway. That they're on their longest homestand of the year right now too. So.
Yeah. I think if the Flames, knowing the Flames were going to do that, we would have known about it. We would have seen videos. Like, remember when they brought Blasty back and we saw videos from like Val Bure and stuff announcing Blasty coming back? Like, the Flames would have made it known, especially in a year where they're trying to probably find some revenue, that they're doing this.
I think they do it next year for sure. I think they bring back, I think they do it next year.
I'm hearing that they're changing the jerseys next year. I don't know if you do a throwback next year, but I think that I'm questioning if you want to do the rebrand, a big rebrand before the new building or in the new building. I don't know.
They just need to keep the traditional red. They don't need to either do the red.
I think it'll be red. I think they need to stay red, but I think you could change what the red kit looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons I hate the Blasty jerseys, they're black, and the Flames is a sea of red. And I think they could sell a lot of jerseys if they put Blasty on red.
I could see that. That's fair.
I wouldn't want it to become their primary logo by any means, but if you want a third jersey, I think you could definitely do a red Blasty, or even take like the 04 style, stick Blasty on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they don't need to severely reinvent the wheel. I don't mind those 2004 jerseys. The only ones I don't like those the one with the Calgary on it. That one I hope they don't need to bring that one back.
I don't think they will. That's the one that's lost to time.
Yeah. They forgot about it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind, and the 04 jersey, really the first time we saw the Black C, I've still said I wouldn't mind it if they were to take the 04 jerseys and put a white C and change the black to white and kind of go current colors, old striping pattern.
Yeah, that's what they sort of did with the reverse retro jerseys during that bubble year.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure if the trend right now in the NHL seems to be either neon or color on color, like, kind of monochrome color. And I wonder if the Flames would ever do red on red, like a red C on a red jersey with a black outline.
That could be.
I wouldn't want it as their home jersey, but I mean, we're seeing, sort of Carolina's gone that way. Dallas has that as a third.
I don't like Carolina's road jerseys. I think they're one of the ugliest in the league.
I agree. But if I was going to do a severe rebrand of this team, I would not probably do it before the new building.
No, I wouldn't either, I think.
I could see doing a year throwback, but I also think that if you throw back for a year, like to 04 as your home and away, you're not then going to convince people to buy another jersey twice in 2 years.
Yeah.
In this economy, like,
no.
I think you've got to have people save their money for the new building. You might kind of tease it next year that a new one is coming, but I think that you've got to wait if you're going to do it, I would wait for the new building.
I agree.
New era of the Flames, new era of the building. Like, I think there's a sales pitch there to say, we're out of the dome, we're somewhere new. Let's not go with a throwback. Let's go with something modern, whatever that means to them. And, modern building, modern uniforms, and maybe find the next generation of Flames uniforms.
Yeah.
Sort of like 04 was very modern at the time, right? I mean, those were new, those were funky. They were not straight lines for the first time. If we take the pedestal out of there, like, I think those were cool jerseys at the time. And we kind of went through a trend of everybody doing throwbacks and artificial throwbacks. I've always hated the idea of laces on your jersey when you weren't original 6. And I think we're coming out the other end of that throwback era.
Yeah, we're getting into a newer look for sure. I mean, what you do is at the draft next year's draft, you unveil that new jersey with your first pick.
Yeah, whether the draft, or I could even see it being unveiled early in some sort of a ceremony for the new building. Like, I could see it that, let's just say that they have eras of Flames fans. They have Lanny, they have Jerome, or eras of Flames players stand outside the new building and cut a ribbon wearing a brand new look. And then the first time it's available is at the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe something. Yeah. But we shall see. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a kind of it is interesting because I think although it is the kind of the dark before it is as that Batman said, it's always darkest before the dawn. We are in this dark era and the dawn is coming, and we know that, right? We know, and it's kind of all of this new thing, I think, brings in some excitement. So it is going to be rough, but it's good things are coming. And there's still lots to talk about. We'll always have lots to talk about. But what are you talking about on the fireside chat now?
Well, before that, I just want to give a shout out to someone who's back. Aesthetics is back while we're talking about jerseys. He went away for almost a year and no one knew what happened to Aesthetics or his channel or his website. And I was kind of worried about the guy. I mean, he's become, such a fixture in the hockey community to just disappear. And we've seen him back on YouTube now. So if you're wanting to get jersey news, Aesthetics is back.
Oh, yeah, all right. Well, welcome back, Aesthetics.
What are we talking about? We're talking about everything Flames. So this week we'll be talking about the week that was for the Flames. The fact that they had 3 disallowed goals in one game. That's crazy. I can't ever remember that happening before. I don't know if that's more. What's that?
It was 2023. The Oilers did it.
Did they have 2 in one period?
I don't know if I don't know if it was all in one period or it was spread out. I can't remember. But it was 2023 according to Sportsnet stats.
And then I think, the question on that will also be, is that a failure of the team or a failure of the officials? If you blow 2 offsides, that's probably a problem with your officials.
That's probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column
So we'll
B.
talk about that. We'll talk about this retro game, and if the Flames do end up surprising us with different jerseys in that one, we'll have that discussion as well. So we'll talk about everything that was for the Flames this week, some of the young players, how the guys that have been traded here look, and see what this week of home games brings. They've been on the road for a while, so it's time to see some home games.
Yes. So a long homestand for the Flames. We talked about the Canucks, Sean and I, yesterday. We kind of spent a little bit more time. We broke down the World Cup. We broke down the Radko Gudas, Austin Matthews situation, and then talked a little bit Canucks. So check that out. You can follow Fireside Chat wherever you find podcasts are sold. And you follow
Kevin,
us
that Canucks game, Calgary Canucks are coming up. That's going to be a painful one, isn't it?
When is that game?
28th.
Oh, God.
You almost got to pay people to go see that game.
The Canucks fans are cheering for Flames and the Flames fans are cheering for the Canucks?
Well, I mean, the Flames are never going to surpass the Canucks, right? Like, they can't be as bad as the Canucks at this point. So I think it's, it doesn't really matter who wins that one, but that's Hockey Night in Canada. That's going to be quite the game to watch.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, that's next Saturday, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll keep an eye on that. You can follow us at Shifts and Pucks. Follow Sean Beardy Canuck 03, Tyler TNOBLE, Chris Schneid's SCHNEIDZ, Devin still around, Devin Holmes Smith on Instagram. I am KEVOLE, Shifts and Pucks on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, as well as on the Hockey Podcast Network and wherever fine podcasts are sold. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.